Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, coming at you live talking about episode 11 of the anime series Just Because. And I was actually kind of surprised by the sense of mounting tension that was impacting me with the latter half of this episode. The rest of it is very much the slice of life, one step at a time, calm sort of norm that this show tends to be. But as we got into the concept of Eita and Natsume going to their respective entrance exams and taking the examinations and that kind of stuff, I suddenly found this sense of tension. It was becoming palpable for me, punctuated by the fact that you had Haruto and Hazuki both kind of letting it slip that, even though Eita had been accepted outright to Joei, he's going and taking the testing for what Natsume's original first school of choice was. And she lets it slip that, Natsume flipped over to Joei because that's where Eita was going to be going. They can't talk to each other. They can't just reveal the choices they've made. So it really has them between a rock and a hard place. And it's interesting to me because, there was a fleeting moment where Haruto and Hazuki were both mulling over, should we try to call them, contact them? Is there time enough? No, the exams probably began already. It's probably too late. And, just the palpability of that, the tension of that, it was very much abundantly clear to me in that moment. I was kind of like, oh boy. And I didn't expect that. I didn't expect to be so drawn in and wrapped up in this sort of dilemma between them because they can't talk, because they can't reveal to each other. They've made those respective promises between themselves, to themselves. If I pass, I'm going to let him or I'm going to let her know how I really feel. And the same thing goes for Kamiya. She has kind of already let her feelings be known to Eita, and I'm wondering what Eita's really thinking about her along those lines, because it seems like he does agree he is going to try his best to, pass this entrance exam as Komiya wants him to do, even though she minced no words in the previous episode. She doesn't want him to, but she wants him to succeed at this. And she's kind of like, she tells him, and if you pass, I want you to come clean too. And he kind of sort of agrees. But I don't know if he's agreeing, well, I'm going to reveal all to Natsume, or I'm going to reveal all to you, Kamiya, who stipulated this. But all three of them, by the end of the episode, they're shown smiling, and it seems like they got the news they most want. Eita succeeded, passed his entrance exam. Natsume seems to have as well, and Kamiya seems to have gotten the photography award she was hoping she would get. And so that's kind of where we leave it. And then, of course, we're going to have to pick up with the next episode to see what the next step is. When the other leg drops, who is going to reveal what to whom and all that kind of stuff? And is it going to go along the lines of how I've speculated in these video discussions, that none of them are going to end up together? Or is something going to be workable? Can they work it out in some fashion? Because I did find myself wondering, Eita's already been accepted to Joei for all intents and purposes, unless his mother sort of, already put in word that he's turned that down and he's going to be stuck going to this other school that was supposed to be the one Natsume was going to. Can't they just sort of backpedal? Can't he just decide, what the hell, I'll go to Joei since that's where she's going now? Since that's where Natsume got accepted into. She passed the exam. And what's more, during the whole sequence, they kept cutting back to them both taking their respective exams. Now, for Natsume, she's not going to think, oh, why isn't Eita here? Because he already got in, as far as she knows. And that's already where he's going. It's a foregone conclusion. But to Eita, shouldn't he be looking around and wondering why Natsume is not there taking the entrance exam with him? Presumably that's where she would be if she was still angling toward that school, which was her first choice. And I'm just like, if I'm in his position, I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Why isn't she here? I'll still take the test, but I'm going to be like, why isn't she here? What's going on? What the hell? What gives? So it's just really going to be interesting to see how this plays out. If, in fact, they're both stuck now, respectively, with their respective schools that they got into. The opposites to what they began the series with. They both chose to take the school the other was going to be, applying for. Are they stuck that way? Is there any workable solution where they can both go to the same school or not? This, that, and the other thing. And like I say, who's going to reveal what to whom when they finally powwow? When they finally, who's going to talk to whom first? Is Kamiya going to immediately find Eita before Natsume does? Are Eita and Natsume going to be able to reveal how they've been feeling all along to each other? Will there be reluctance? Will either of them decide maybe it would be better not to? I'm really, really pitched on the edge of my seat to find out all of those answers in the finale episode, which is a week away as of the time of this recording. And, everything else about the episode, it was just that calm Norm, that very warm-hearted, slow-paced Norm that I love and appreciate with this series. It was fun and funny and cute and adorable seeing, Hazuki and Haruto sort of powwowing again, reconnecting after she turned him down, but she asked him out. I love the conversation between him and Eita. Eita's like, so, you think about Morikawa? Yeah, of course. Well, how'd you know? Because you always do. That's all you ever do. And then Eita's like joshing him. He's like, yeah, I thought you were going to tell me she turned you down. Well, she did turn me down. What? Yeah, she turned me down, then she asked me out. And Eita's just like, huh? I love the characterization in this show. And I loved, there were 3 character portraits. There were 3 moments, there were a couple really, for each of the characters, but there were 3 in particular where they just sort of had these character portraits, these really nice, solemn, happy, joyous, moments with Kamiya, with Natsume, and with Hazuki. And each of them, they were just, sort of smiling, whether it was they were smiling at someone or they were smiling to themselves. And each of those sequences, I took screen caps of all of them, and actually the one for Natsume is in the thumbnail. I made the thumbnail before I started the video. But I also made up this little meme thing that I'm going to go post over on Facebook with the 3 of them, and then a face of sort of a psycho from earlier today, my review earlier in the day, as of the time of this recording, for Osama Game the Animation. And 3 happy anime girls, and then this one psycho face that's like, something about that imagery just made me laugh my ass off. Because of the juxtaposed emotions and everything going on there. But each of the 3 of them, there were these really classical, very well-drawn and animated sequences where you saw each of the 3 of these girls. It's the calm before the storm, the joy before the explosion, before whatever it is that comes next. And I just really was appreciative of seeing all of them. They were very pretty and lively and happy, and it's like, that's kind of what I wish for all of the characters for all time. And we're just going to have to wait and see in the finale episode how this all wraps up. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 11 of Just Because. If you've seen it as well, if you enjoyed it as much as I did, if you felt any sense of tension as I talked about, with Eita and Natsume taking their entrance exams, and Haruto and Hazuki talking about what they knew, that they both switched, and should we get in touch with them? Should we not? That kind of thing. Do you think all bets are off? Do you think it's a lost cause that now both of them are stuck going to different schools? Or do you think there's some way of backpedaling and working it out where they're both going to be able to go to the same college? Such like that. Let me know that in the comments below. That's pretty much it from me on this one otherwise. And hope this video finds you well. And I'll catch you all later. Peace.